Kwa hivyo nimeshukuru sana, nimepewa madawa naenda kumeza na nina imani ya kwamba nitapona. Katika jina la Yesu. Amen.
I'm going for a mammogram and then I bring the results here. They go ahead treating me. I'm happy for them. They are kind, they are generous here.
Na wanakuuliza venye unajisikia uko mgonjwa, wana insist sana useme kwingine ni wapi. So matibabu yenyewe iko tu sawa na madawa pia wanakupa kwa utaratibu.
Hata kama wanaweza kuweza kabisa watengeneza hospitali hapa karibu, ndio ingekuwa afadhali. Alafu hao madaktari wako hapa ndio wako tu kwa hiyo hospitali. Ndio.
Hata ukitaka kuokoka wanakuombea uokoke, wanakuhubiria na ni free kwa wiki nzima.
Ndio.
So tunafurahia na watu wamekuja wengi sana.
Ndio.
Na tunashukuru Mungu kwa sababu wamefika.
Hakuna dawa mtu ameambiwa kanunuliwe nje. Amepewa dawa zote. Natumaini na pia tu Mungu awabariki na azidishie neema.
A lot of people approached me and asked me, "Are you coming back next year? Are you coming back next year?" And I said in faith, yes, we're coming back next year. Pray for us because it takes a lot to plan something like this. And so I would tell them, you know what? You want us to come back? Pray that we come back because I want to come back and do this again. So my name is Grace Mukuria and I am a nursing student. Neema is my name in Swahili, which means grace, and the meaning of grace is undeserved favor. The mission of the free medical camp here in Nakuru was basically born out of free medical care that I received when I was younger, 7 years old. And that's why I decided, I would like to do that for as many people as I could.
I remember one time she was attacked. It was in the evening, and as usual, we pray in the evening or before we eat, and I told her, "Grace, you are the one who is going to give thanks for the food." And I know she remembers that, and her dad remembers that. So when I told her to give thanks, she was attacked when she was praying, and we had her, she just kept quiet, and I opened my eyes and I saw Grace was, gone, she's, helpless. And I was so mad with the devil. And we prayed and we lifted her up. And she didn't come back immediately. We had to take her to the hospital. And it took so long, and the devil was preaching to me that your daughter is going. But I kept, praying, and I told God, "God, I refuse with my daughter." So we took her to the hospital, and the doctors, they were so cooperative. And they put her on drips, and she later recovered. So we kept on praying for her, believing God for her, because sometimes she could be attacked when she was in the bathroom. One time she was attacked, and we tried to open the door, and we couldn't because she fell down, and her head was, it was facing the door. But I want to thank God because when I see Grace, I see a miracle baby. I see a miracle girl.
After we took her to Kijabe and she saw the doctors, and she had this tension on her. She was so excited, and she was struck by this love and people just coming from that far to come and just offer us free attention or treatment. And I do remember her saying to us that she would want to become a doctor, and hopefully one day maybe be able to offer something of that nature, of a free medical treatment or free medical camps to the media, and I think this is a dream come true.
This has been a life-changing experience for me. When this all started, my goal was to help people and to change their lives. And the opposite has happened. People have helped me and changed my life.
The mission is to provide free medical care. That includes free treatment, free medicine, free counseling, health education, and even spiritual nourishment. So it encompasses a lot of different areas that not necessarily just one particular medical aspect of it, but it's the holistic man. So that is the mission. I have my mom beside me. She lives with me. Her name is Joy, and she keeps me sane during school. And I have my dad, who keeps me grounded also. He's David Mohota. He's a pastor. And then we have Jacqueline, who just graduated with nursing degree in Haley, and they are both going to be nurses. And then we have John, who is a retired nurse, has worked as a nurse for 35 years.
45.
And he's going to search for just a job, part-time job, home health. And that's the team so far.
I first heard about the trip from one of my teachers at school, actually, and she told me to contact Grace, and I did, and I'm so glad that I did.
And I had overheard a couple of the Missouri Southern nursing instructors talking about a medical mission.
I chose to be involved in this mission trip because I've always had everything I needed in life. I've never gone without anything.
I've been very fortunate and blessed all my life, and I just thought it would be a good time to start giving back. And so she put me in contact with Grace. We had met at the Starbucks in Joplin, Missouri, and she interviewed me, and she accepted me for the mission, and I'm glad she did.
Some people would just say, I'm in this because Grace is my daughter. But while, yes, Grace is my daughter, and I'm proud that she is doing this, but I am in this because this has been the cry of my heart, the desire of my heart, and I can only say that Grace is just taking after her parents.
I did not know it was going to take a lot of planning and a lot of small details that needed to be taken care of, something like this. I thought it was just going to be something simple, you know, do it and get it done. We had to get permission from the district, we had to get permission from the hospital superintendent, and so many legal paperwork that we had to do. And then the girls getting their shots and calling me and asking, so, do I need another shot?
I think we ended up getting, what, 4 or 5 shots in piece?
Yeah.
And they were very, very expensive, and that came out of our own pocket.
Yeah, I think it took joint effort. I remember Grace would run around trying to do all kinds of fundraising and sensitizing people through her blog. But I must also mention that our local church in Fort Scott, Kansas, where I minister, also did quite a bit. There was so much for this mission, and they gave their best.
I think we all realize that we have to plan next year's mission as soon as we get back.
Yes. Yeah. We also had to have media because we needed to raise the awareness, which I later found out we don't even need because people were flocking in like
word flies.
Yeah, word flies just like that, and you know. But it was a privilege to have I think most of the Kenyan media at the clinic.
If you ask, you'll receive. Like,
yeah.
I asked my dad's church, South Joplin, if they would help, and they donated, and I was very grateful. And then my church, First Christian Church in Yasha, they were, and my parents, and
it was just amazing to see how people were in it and trying to support, and even people calling me because they saw the article in the Kansas City newspaper. You know, I think we're living in a time where social media is a big, powerful tool. You know, with Twitter, with Facebook, with my blog, with YouTube, newspapers, radio, and TV. It was just amazing to see that it was a global thing, that people were interested in this. Take care of someone and then they say thank you, or you see them get better, or even just a smile on their faces when something good is going right in their system. It gives you excitement and joy, and just the fact that you know you made somebody's day or you helped someone. That to me alone just gives me more motivation to keep doing what I'm doing. When we went to Kenya this time around, we wanted to be able to do exactly that, to offer free medical treatment, free drugs, and also on top of that, we wanted to be able to provide, to pay for the bills of some of the people who are in the hospital, who are trapped in the hospital because they cannot afford to pay their medical bills. So we were able to offer free medical care to 2,554 people. We were able to send 6 people for emergency surgeries, and also on top of that we were able to pay for 8 people to get out of hospital because they cannot afford to pay their bills. And with those 8 people that were sent out of the hospital, majority of them were women who had given birth to their babies, but they were stuck in the hospital for more than 2 months because they couldn't afford the medical treatment that they received. So that is basically what happened during this treatment.
I originally told people that we'd only see about 100 patients a day, and we saw 300 plus a day.
The 2,534 were only the new patients that we got each day. But each day we had over 50 people coming for follow-up because the doctors would want to see them the next day, and we would have to recheck everything and prescribe
their blood
medicine.
sugars, their blood pressure.
Yeah, and so there was more people that came, but we just didn't count them because they were there before.
There were also people that weren't registered that we were like, okay, come on in.
Because they were very sick.
Or the children didn't get registered and things like that.
Yeah, like mothers would come with, like, let's say 7 children, and only 3 were registered, so the other 3 didn't have any piece of paper for us to write for. So it was very, it was very overwhelming, just because a mother would have all these kids and then we would have to send them all in.
Yeah, because a lot of what we treated was upper respiratory infections, and it just went from mother to the children. It just spread throughout the whole family. So we ended up really, basically, a lot of times we treated the whole family.
And a lot of deworming.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, because when one child had it, the other child was going to come back the next day with the same condition.
That and ringworm.
Yeah, ringworm.
So what you're saying is essentially that we're coming back.
Coming back.
Yeah, we've established the needs there.
Yeah, there is a huge need. Yeah, definitely. It was a joint effort that everybody pulled together what they had. I remember some friends from school would come and just volunteer to help pack and also just organize things around. Friends coming over to cook when I was tired.
Grace has a big heart. She really has a big heart, and it is something that is natural to her. It is not something that is fake. It is not something that it's something that's natural. It's something she can't escape to. It's something that that's inborn. I think it's a good thing. She has a big heart. She has a caring heart. And above everything, I mean, she loves God.
And I think for me, it made an impact the most when I saw the pictures of everything that she did. Because for some reason, like, all the planning had kind of gotten, you know, like, it seemed such a faraway goal. But when she actually got there and was helping people, it was, you know, it just sunk in that people's lives were actually going to be permanently changed because of the decision she made to follow through with her vision.
That really was inspiring, that somebody could actually sit down, plan, organize, to be able to not only visit her home country, but to be more than, you know, visit, a bigger blessing, bring some resources, you know, bring life to the people there. That took me back to my experience and of how actions that may not be so big really change people's lives. That rekindled something in me.
There are times you just want to give up, but they were right here. They were right there to, you know, to hold me and to tell me, you know, this is something that will happen and you'll be successful.
So many people, you know, think like, oh, you know, I don't have much and I cannot be able to do this. Grace did not have a whole lot of money. Grace doesn't make a whole lot of money. She's a full-time student, but even with that, she saw the need and she felt that she can do something. So even though she doesn't make a whole lot of money, but she had faith. And because of that, she moved out and began to engage people and show them the need. And so I want to challenge young people. Don't think like you cannot do it. The need is there, and unless you see the need, you cannot do something. So realize the need is there, and then walk by faith.
I am very excited about the next medical mission trip. I am happy to say that it will be in 2014. I'm more so excited about it because my parents will be back home. They're returning back to Kenya December of next year, and this next medical mission trip will be even greater and more efficient because they'll be there and they'll be on the ground to be able to make sure that everything is set up, and even before we get there, that everything is that is necessary is there. And I think it will run much more smoothly just because of the fact that they will be based there, not necessarily living here and having to travel back and forth. So I'm very excited about this next medical mission trip. Although it's a sad, happy, sad moment for me because they're leaving, but it's, you know, a change is good as rest. So the change is definitely good because they will be in Kenya. So this is the part where you come in. We would like for you to make donations, if possible more monetary than supplies. We ran into a lot of costs during this medical trip. It costed us more than $15,000. A lot of the money was spent on not just traveling expenses, but also on medications, on the trips to the hospital, and even little expenses like on location gas money, you know, and things like thermometer batteries, which here in the United States we take for granted, having one thermometer that costs 50 cents. But in Kenya, somebody's temperature is not getting taken because there is no thermometer battery. So with all that into consideration, the expenses add up. If you also want to get involved in just more than the monetary donations, if you want to take part in the next medical mission trips, if you are a doctor, if you're a nurse, if you're an eye doctor, if you're whatever you want to do and you feel like you're led to come with us on the next medical trip, definitely feel free to contact us. Our contact information will be there for you available, and just make sure you call us and we'll see what we can do.